Hey, do you remember this ficus that I chopped down a year ago? Well, today I'm going to begin working on it, beginning its transformation. Perhaps one day it can become a world-class bonsai. A year ago, I made a decision that altered this tree's destiny. It was no more than a house plant, grown untrained and unrefined for 3 decades. Its only advantage was its powerful root base. I reduced it to a single stump, stripped bare of all of its leaves and branches, left with nothing but the memory of what it once was. I gave it a new soil, a new pot, and entrusted it to the warmth of the greenhouse. And then we waited, with nothing more than horticultural knowledge and faith. In bonsai as in life, a year can bring about a transformation beyond all imagination. The deepest changes often begin with what feels like loss. One bold cut can seem like a setback, yet from emptiness comes renewal. With proper care and with patience, new life emerges, stronger, richer, and more determined. Growth is a gift, but growth without guidance quickly becomes chaos. Every new branch, every leaf must be met with intention, or else it loses its meaning. Welcome back, Bonsai Society. If you remember, a year ago, I chopped this tree back, and after that, I put it in a warm greenhouse so it could recover, lots of heat, humidity, and it just budded out all over. During the summer, I was going to prune it back 2 or 3 times, but my son kept telling me, wait, you have to do it for your bonsai subscribers. So just please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to start now working on this tree. It's always a good idea when you do such a drastic chop back to let a plant or a tree recover. In this case, I didn't do anything to it. We just put it in a warm, humid environment and let it grow like crazy. Gave it a bit of fertilizer, and as you can see, it sent out a lot of new budding, which we don't need. When I worked on it, after I chopped it back, I removed all of the original soil, and it had been in that soil for like 20 or 30 years. And it was so compact that the roots couldn't breathe any longer. So I removed all of the original soil, washed the roots, and put it in some very fast draining, very granular Japanese bonsai soil. And you can see the results. In fact, it liked it so much that this Ficus microcarpa sent out these huge leaves, which is not really normal, but it's typical when a tree is recovering that it'll send out very, very large leaves. With time, they'll be reduced in size and become very, very small. But this is a good sign. So yeah, just let it grow, recover its health, and when the tree is healthy, then you start to work on it. Fall has truly arrived in my bonsai collection. Here is one of the first bonsai, this Parthenocissus vine that's all in bright red color and the berries are blue. And in the next few weeks, all my trees will be changing color. So stay tuned and you'll see some videos of my wonderful collection in the fall. This is another lovely fall bonsai. This is an Ilex verticillata, but this is a cultivar called Berry Poppins. It's a semi-dwarf, very, very abundant fruiting on it. If you're interested, go back into the old videos and you'll find a demonstration of me transforming this plant into a bonsai. The first thing you want to do when you're working on a bonsai is to determine where the front is. Usually it's where it's the best root base, where the roots splay out toward the front, and mark it so you'll always remember it. So I made a little marker here and I turned the tree all around. Here I think is the best front because here the base is very narrow. Here we've got a very large root sticking out. It's not very pretty. On this side, it's not a bad front, but it's not great either. We'll go with this front right here. I made a little sight so that we'll remember it. Once you have your front Then I just want to clear off some superfluous branches, ones that are too close to the base, ones that are sucker growth, things that I really don't need before I start working on the tree. The worst thing you can have is a branch that's hiding your front. You have to see the trunk rise. You have to be able to follow the trunk from the root base right up to the tip. And here we have a huge branch that's hiding the front. Now I'm going to remove it, but I'm going to leave something on the side here because I don't have a side branch yet. Now this is crossing over. I don't want these two branches, so they'll be removed. Our main trunk is going to be here, so we've got two little sucker growths that I don't want to use either. To fill in the bottom of the tree, I want a branch here, but these two smaller branches are in the way. Before I start to work on the tree, I usually do a little sort of a design of what the tree will look like. So I'll do a very fast pencil sketch of what I think the tree should be. I've done a very quick sketch of the way I see this tree. Now this is a typical banyan tree, Ficus microcarpa, and I want to have a very gently moving trunk. The first branch will be on this side, then we're having another side branch but leaning toward the back. We have a back branch here. These will all be cut very short. The first job will be to wire the future trunk with a very thick aluminum wire. I will shorten the height of the trunk, and the most precious part of this tree are all these wonderful thin side branches here, because I will be wiring them all and giving them a gently curving shapes to give the tree more elegance. So I will begin by shortening all these long branches, shortening the top, and then we'll start the wiring job on this tree. Now we have the tree reduced to its basic element. We can see the main trunk, which I'm going to wire in a moment. These main branches here, and I've removed all the big leaves. They would fall off anyway, and they're making room for new growth. Wherever I've removed a large leaf, we'll get a new bud, and we'll get very small, fine branching, which is what I want with this tree. Just a few moments before I start to wire, this is the front of my tree here, and it budded out a little bit below where I chopped the trunk back, and I want to create more taper. So what I will do is I'm going to be cutting across at an angle to create more taper on this tree. The question is it a good time of year to be working on ficus? No, it's not the best time, but this tree within 2 weeks will be going into a warm, humid greenhouse, so it'll think it's back into summer. So it's not critical if you're growing these trees in Florida or in the tropics or keeping it in a warm greenhouse in the winter. You can work on them at practically any time of year. Last week, I did a YouTube on the 5 trees that I think are, for me personally, are the easiest trees to grow as bonsai. And ficus was my top choice. You might want to refer to that YouTube video of me working or talking about ficus. Here I am doubling up the wire so that I'll get more strength in order to bend this large trunk. When you're doubling the wire, always run it parallel to the other one and very, very close. Don't leave spaces between it. The reason why I doubled it is because number 6 aluminum wire is the thickest wire you can get. Actually, I do have some 7 millimeters, some 7.5. I think I even have 8.5 millimeter aluminum wire, but it's very, very tough to cut. You can see the size of these wire cutters. they're pretty monstrous. So it's better sometimes to learn how to double up your wire so that you can get better control over the branch or the trunk you're trying to move. You have to always bend only where you have a spiral of wire on the outside. Put your 2 index fingers on each side of the wire. You put your thumbs underneath and you bend only where you have a wire on the outside. I think I've bent it enough. I don't want to have too curvy a trunk because the base is quite straight. So I just wanted to put a bit of movement into my tree to give it a certain elegant quality. And we'll bend those 2 lower branches and then we'll start to wire the upper branches. Again, with ficus, we don't want the branches too much below horizontal because we want to recreate the way the tree grows in nature. The banyan style is a very large, thick trunk, and all the main branches coming out pretty well horizontal to the ground, and eventually they'll grow aerial roots into the ground and you'll get these massive trees that cover several acres. I will wire this down. I scraped a bit of it when I was sawing. I don't think I need it. I really don't. At the end, we'll cover all of these scars, all of these wounds with cut paste so that the tree can heal over really well. Okay, now we're going to wire the critical smaller branches. I want a wire that's strong enough to actually be able to curve it quite well. I think I might go to 2 to have total control over the movement of that branch. Don't wire too closely. Your spiral should be at about a 60-degree angle and not too tight. Now this tree grows very, very rapidly and these branches will thicken up. Now that I've cut off the top here, all of the strength of the tree, the sap will flow into these lower branches and they will fatten up in no time. So you have to be very vigilant. Now you want to curve them slightly, not too much, and the curves should all be uneven. Some closer, some further away, with a little bit of movement in between them, but not regular curves. Now we want 3 dimensions, so we will bring some branches further forward and others further toward the back. I will be wiring all the main trunk first, then I will do the secondary branches on the 2 lowest branches. Always wire right to the branch tip and know what direction you want to bend the branch, because I could have started underneath or over the top with this branch, but because I wanted to bend it this way, I started over the top. As I'm wiring, I'm trying not to place one branch over the other. I want branches growing in all directions. You do want a bit of up and down movement also in your branches, not only side to side to give the branches a bit of interest. We're going further up. Now we're going to be using slightly thicker wire because the branches have gotten thicker. As you know, the sap always rises toward the top, so the upper branches here have become stronger than the lower ones, which is a constant battle in bonsai because you're constantly trying to create an equilibrium in strength. You want the lower branches to be the longest and the thickest, and the upper branches to be shorter and thinner. Sometimes you have to let the lower branches grow out a lot and keep putting a brake on the growth of the upper branch to keep them shorter and thinner. When you are wiring, it's so important to have the wire right here in the axle of the branch. So you have to hold it in there with your thumbnail when you're wiring in order to bring it down right there. We might have to shorten these branches a little bit toward the end, but there's 2 ways of shortening them: just cutting them shorter or creating tighter bends, and that shortens them even more. So that's probably what I'll be trying to do right now, is to create much tighter bends. We don't have another branch. This one's quite thin, of an equal size. So I think I'm just going to use a thinner wire and hook it onto a larger upper branch. You always give yourself a bit more to get to the end because you lose some of it in the wiring because it's not a straight line. And now what I want to do is anchor it onto a lower branch. They look pretty skimpy right now, and this trunk looks skimpy, but in the future, some of these branches will be too close to each other. They'll be one on top of the other. So often I'll have to remove at least one out of every 2 main branches because the foliage pads become very, very dense and they'll shade out the ones underneath them. All right, so now we're going from this one up to this one, and then this one up to our top. So here again, we're going to be using some 2.5 millimeter wire. This is the very first branch that we'll have in front of our tree because you do want to be able to follow the main trunk up to the top, but we'll place it slightly to the right or slightly to the left so that it won't be an eye poker. Right now I'm wiring to place all the main branches. This is the framework of the tree. I think maybe I'll wire quite a few of the secondary branches. But after that, the rest of the tree can be finished solely by directional pruning. If I want the branch to grow out this way, I can cut here and I'll get a new secondary branch growing out that way. And then if I want another change in direction, I can cut it there and it'll grow out that way. Much the way they grew the trees in southern China, the Lingnan method, they used directional pruning. And it's very effective with tropical trees because they grow quickly. And so you can create great looking bonsai solely through pruning. Not quite as effective with our native conifers because they grow so slowly. There, I think it's preferable to use wiring. Oh, I have to do just a few little branches at the top, at the apex of the tree. Apex of a tree is the crown and glory of a tree. So it always has to be quite beautiful. Right now, it's not. You should, as much as possible, try to have a rounded crown. It depicts the look of age when your crown is rounded. Next step is to cover our pruning wounds with some cut paste. What I'd like to do though, because I sawed it off, there's some ridges here. And I don't like that because it prevents the tree from healing over really well. So I usually have a little pocket knife or a knife of some type, and I try to shave the edges and smooth out the cut. This is our final design. In bonsai, you can go one of two ways. You can either grow a bonsai from a young seedling or a cutting, or take a larger tree and reduce its size. Obviously, the faster way, especially for people my age, is to take a larger tree and reduce it to a smaller bonsai. So that's what we've done today. We kept one stem to be our new trunk. We've placed all the branches, so the future of the tree is there. The basic framework is there. All we have to do now is just pinch and prune to create some lovely floating foliage pads. So folks, what did you think of this whole journey from cutting down that big trunk last year and this year creating the basic framework of a bonsai? Send your thoughtful comments and subscribe. And for one lucky viewer, we'll be sending you this design, okay? So in the future, stay tuned for the next video. It'll be coming soon. With bonsai, we begin with raw material and add the quiet ingredient of imagination. It could have gone either way, yet in the end, the branches gave it its soul. What was once rawness is now grace. Such is the patient work of a bonsai artist.